If we've got a minute, I actually have, let's see, we have a meeting on the 4th, March 4th.
Yeah, the board meeting. On Monday.
Okay, right. I'm not gonna be able to be here in person.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be out of state and I'm happy to do it virtually.
Okay.
If that's still okay. We can still do that, right?
We can, I think you have to close the agenda. Need to address them, you have to post the agenda.
Yeah.
Can't you use the?
You can also use
Two emergent, you get 2 a
Yeah.
year for the emergency ones, right?
And I'm caring for my mother.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
It's going to be a very short board meeting on Monday. We only have one agenda because we have to do some more work on our long range plan. And so it's only this item that is going to the board. But
was that more clear already? No, not yet. Okay. Okay, all right. Well, welcome to the Livermore Amador Valley Transit Authority meeting, Finance and Administration Committee meeting for February 27th. And we will start at the meeting at 4:05. And can we start with I'm calling the meeting to order and roll call, please.
we can do pledge right now. It wasn't on the agenda, but it should have been.
I'm sorry, what?
The pledge, we usually do it. It wasn't on the agenda, but it should have been.
Okay, let's start with the pledge. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I just asked why it wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't realize it was up there. Thank you. Okay, so roll call, please.
Yes, Livermore alternate Branning.
Here.
Director Hernandez. And Chair Testa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. All right. So meeting open to the public? Do we have any public?
So there's no attendees through Zoom today. And we don't have anybody here in the audience. I didn't get anything via email.
Okay, great, thank you. Then, we need to approve the minutes from January 30th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
Hernandez will move the meetings for January 30th, 2024.
Okay,
Are you okay with seconding since I wasn't here?
okay, sure. Technically, if you've read the minutes, you're allowed to still, but I'm happy to second that, okay? And so we have a first and a second, and we need to do the roll call, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, no, for this we
You
don't.
don't,
because
I
we're
wasn't
not.
here. You don't have anybody on.
We're good.
okay, so, we'll just do an all in favor? Aye. Oppose? No, okay, so motion passes. So number 5, treasurer's report.
Good afternoon. Presented before you is the treasurer's report for January 2024, 7th month of the fiscal year. We are still slightly below budget and where we need to be on our expenses. And our revenues are a little lower than where we'd like them to be. However, we have plenty of money in our LAIF account and in our bank account. MTC's just been a little slow releasing some of the money this year.
Okay, so do we have any questions? Seeing none, then can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll go ahead and move that. We move the treasurer's report to the full board.
I'll second.
All right, and so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? None, so motion carries. Item 6, contract award for LAVTA financial auditing services.
Okay. Back in December, staff released a RFP for financial auditing services as the contract we had expired. We put it out to a number of auditing firms. And we received 2 qualified responses, or 2 responses total. Both firms were both firms are qualified, both firms had excellent responses. We reviewed it, myself, Daniel, who's the other half of our finance department, and we invited Amber Johnson, who's the CFO at County Connection, to join us on our reviews. In putting the RFP together, we got information from County Connection, but also the cities of Dublin and Livermore. Because most transit agencies, well, transit is very specialized in terms of most of the audit. Most transit agencies don't put out an ACFR. And we wanted to make sure that the ACFR language was in there and up to date, so we borrowed auditing RFPs from Dublin and Livermore to make sure that was all good. The three of us scored our evaluations. We then held interviews because the scores were very close, and then rescored them. And in the end, Mays and Associates scored 96 points to Brown and Armstrong's 91 points. So staff is recommending awarding a 3-year contract. It will also have 4 option years, but we will bring each of those option years back to the board for approval as we go after we get past the first 3. And so that's our recommendation.
Okay, so do we have any questions?
I know we've done this like so many times before. We've always asked Dublin's input or another city.
So when we did it 7 years ago,
Wait, we've done it more than that.
we haven't gone out to bid on this for 7 years.
For me,
Yeah, for our auditing services.
oh, did you have a contract with us for?
Yeah, so yeah, it was
So
4
they've been,
years.
I was
with
like, they've
3.
been it for many years.
Yes, it was 4 with 3
I
options.
was
so
like,
it was
I know
7
they've
years.
been doing
Yeah.
it.
And last time, somebody from Dublin actually helped us score.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the same, contacts at the other transit agencies that we do now, so,
I think we use names.
I don't know if you still do, you use,
I
I
know
know,
you
for
used to.
sure. Livermore recently.
But we don't
changed,
always
they use
sit
names.
on like the, whoever, we get to pick whoever's gonna be on there. Sometimes it's not the mayor or whatever, but the mayor just picked. So I was wondering, because I thought we always like asked for another thing.
Right, that's why we brought in Amber from County Connection.
Okay.
And interestingly, Amber's auditor happens to be the other firm that bid. So, because there just really aren't a lot of firms with transit experience, but that was her firm, and she actually had experience with both Mays from a previous job and Brown. So,
I think my only concern, not that there's a concern, but I think we should have more of like what happened during RFP so that we're very transparent.
Mhm.
And obviously this one was done 7 years ago. And I
well,
know
no,
that
this one was done in December. This is the new one.
what do you mean this one was done in December?
This RFP went out in December, so this is for a new contract.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they've done our finances for
Yes.
7 years,
Yes.
May
Mhm.
and stuff. So I'm just saying, I don't think, we don't go out for a lot of RFPs.
Mhm.
I mean, we do like little general here and there, but I know that we did for like the landscaping and stuff like that. But I just think it's good for the board to understand how the RFPs are run.
Just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah. Remember our conversation we had
Just in
this
general,
morning?
yeah.
Yeah,
We could do an
yeah,
educational
absolutely,
item.
yeah,
absolutely, yeah, when we bring in an
Because it's finance
external
and-
person and,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, we tend to bring in an external person just so we want that other level of
That's what
expertise.
yeah, exactly. I believe that's what we do too. I haven't.
Mhm.
talked about that.
Yeah, with only 15 employees, it's hard to find,
Well, it's okay. We've
Expertise
had like
that are
less than
actively-
99 employees for many years, so.
yeah.
Are you 99?
We have a whole city to run.
I know you do.
Our finance department's literally myself and Daniel. So,
No, for sure.
sometimes we try to have, depending on what the, project is, we try to have 5, sometimes 7 for the evaluation. And we tend to, depending on what it is for someone.
It actually might be really good to bring this up before we release our operations and maintenance RFP.
Oh, for sure.
That is our big project, big procurement. We do it once every 7 years. And so maybe that should be released this summer. And so maybe we can find a staff or a meeting where you don't have a lot on your agenda and we can bring you an info. item.
I think that's a great idea.
Evan, any questions?
No, I think that's a great idea. I was impressed at how closely we both scored. I suppose, kind of out of curiosity, what was the tipping, was there anything that was a tipping point, or was it just
Oh.
that they were so close, on the
There
tie?
was a tipping point, because I'm gonna be honest with you, their responses to the RFP almost looked cut and paste from each other. They were like,
Oh, really?
exact same experience, different names, but the same experience, and I was just like. Cause I was really hoping, the last time we did this, we had 2 responses, and one response was missing an entire section, so it was really easy to pick, right? So this
Oh.
time was not so easy. And it was really close, but what the tipping point really was Mays and Associates, education. So there's a required level of education for your auditors.
Mhm.
Mays doubles that. They do twice as much, but they also offer free training to us. And with all the gas fees, I remember when I started here, we were on gas fee like 40. Like there weren't that many. Now there's like, it seems like there's 10 every year. And keeping up on all those, they don't always apply to us, but keeping up on all of those and the other things going on in the world. Mays has training that they invite all of their clients and even non-clients to for free. The other firm had some training that they offered. I don't know if it was as comprehensive, but they charged for their training and their proposal was more. So it really came down to kind of that part of it, the assistance for us, because being only 2 people in our finance department, getting that education, especially when you need it specific to transit. This is new gas fee, but how does it apply to us? There just aren't a lot of resources out there. So the fact that Mays has that training really is what put it over.
And now I'm gonna stump them because I don't know what a gas fee is.
Oh, sorry.
General accounting. Standard.
Accounting 101, did you ever take accounting one?
No, I'm a chef.
Oh,
No, sorry, it's not general, it's Government Accounting Standards Board. So
Okay.
you're thinking of the gap.
I'm thinking of Great Gatsby.
No, you're thinking of the gap. The gap
I actually
is,
think I'm Great
gap
Gatsby.
is generally accepted accounting principles. That's for the whole world. Gatsby is, specific to government. So like they came out with the lease one a couple years ago, and then they have now the
Like mobility as a service, or software as a service.
software
I
as a
mean,
service is the big one that came out last year that's driving everybody nuts because it was not real clear. The new one that your cities are probably seeing is recording your staff PTO that they haven't used as a liability. I don't know if the cities out here are seeing that, but the city where I live, they just allowed the city manager to cash out a bunch of PTO, so it wouldn't be showing up on their books. So I know cities are dealing with it, but that one's actually easier than the last 2 they came up with, but we're at gas fee number like 110 now. There's the gas fees that, involving our OPEB, that was a directive from them. Our retirement, how that's all reported, because you used to just report it, now you have to accrue those liabilities for 30 years of liabilities, so. Those just, they start getting very complicated, and like I said, the way they apply to the city does not always the same as it applies to transit or to us specifically, because we really are a niche market and then a niche agency, so. That was the tipping point between the 2, but yeah, it was very close, even with their interviews, we were like, somebody wow us.
Or somebody not.
Or something else, exactly, and I even told them, I was like, your proposals are almost identical. They're, oh yeah, they all know each other. I was just like, all right.
Well, their employees, they share sometimes or switch back and forth, because I was just at a, where,
They all go to the training together, and they all sit on boards together, and both agencies had, act for reviewers on their team, and it was just like, all right, really looking for that, like, huge distinction. So that was the tipping point. Amber really pointed it out, having worked with both agencies. She's like, they mentioned that, but they weren't, that's really a strong point with them, so.
It's like a big selling point.
Well, it is for me personally. I didn't know if it would be so much for the board, but I really do enjoy getting that extra education, because researching online, it's really not helpful.
well, I do have a question, and, it's somewhat addressed in the report, but my understanding, I was surprised to see that it was going to, the request for a 3-year period plus 4 optional 1-year extensions, which 7 years. My understanding is 5 years is the recommendation for, and I see that it does say that to ensure auditor independence, Mays replaces the auditor manager for LAVTA's account at least as often as is required. Okay, it should say here, what is that, a term? And I've never been comfortable with that. I know that other boards I've sat on, they've kind of said, well, and it's always Mays, because everybody really likes Mays. And people want to keep Mays because they like Mays, and people are comfortable with a comfort level of working, so I get that. But that's what they always say, is it's okay because we're just going to switch a different employee from within Mays onto your account. And I'm not really comfortable with that, so I want to at least bring it up. Especially given that we're coming off a full cycle of 7 years into another cycle of 7 years, with May's meaning 14 years. The concept of fresh eyes is not, I mean, again, they say that they just replace somebody within the organization, but,
So it is every 5 years it's required, and they do change out the auditing manager every 5 years. Also, every year they usually bring us 2 new staff accountants. And they look at things with very fresh eyes, they don't usually even have transit experience. And they tend to ask questions that we've never been asked before. Those are always the interesting questions, we're like, why are they even asking that? So they don't just swap out just the auditing manager, but you're right, that's, the requirement is, to change auditors, but not auditing firms. So they do meet the legal requirement.
And if I could add on to what Tamara just said, we are asking for you to authorize a 3-year contract. We are not recommending any option years at this point. So it would, the 7 years is absolutely accurate. That their current contract is 7 years long, but at the advice of our legal counsel, they said it is a best practice to look at changing your auditors. So our legal counsel advised us not to recommend to you allow us to authorize option years for this particular action.
okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. That's still taking us 10 years
Yeah.
with Mays and Associates.
So just for transparency, they've actually been our auditors since 1996. Not to make this more complicated, but for transparency, they've been our auditors for longer.
Yeah,
So,
okay, well,
with
you
many
know,
different employees over the years, but
I will just state for the record then that I'm uncomfortable with that. But, okay, all right, so, if there are no further comments or questions, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move that recommendation.
And I will second.
Okay, and all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, motion passes. So we are on, item 7. Preview upcoming, financial and, accountability
Administration.
minutes, meeting. Thank you, administration, sorry. Okay,
you want to do it?
Sure, well, I apologize for packing your agendas for the next 6 months, and looking at this, but we have quite a lot of business to take care of. So we will be bringing you, another contract award. This time is for our on-call advertising, creative services, and marketing contract. That will come to you this month or in March. We will be bringing you, our transit signal priority RM2 allocation requests. This is the shared autonomous vehicle funding that we discussed at the end of last year. Staff are working on that project justification. We have your low carbon transit operations, LCT.
Low carbon transportation, yeah, but sure.
So your FY24 allocation request. So some of your regular business will be occurring over the next few meetings. In April, you have your budget, your FY25 budget that we've been working on, and your funding resolutions. And then in May, we will be bringing you some recommended changes to the HR policy. We will have a presentation from our auditor, and we will be bringing you salary bands and the results of our salary study, as we do every year.
okay,
And one thing that I want to just bring up that I did not bring to this committee was the updated KPIs. We have been talking about updating the board stats. And staff has done a great job at coming up with the first draft, and there were a lot of comments just internally, so it wasn't ready for your input right now. So we'll probably push that back.
all right, great, thank you for that. Then, item 8, matters initiated by committee members. Any matters?
I have none.
Okay, great. Then, next meeting is March 26th. And so I believe meeting